let me know if we're live in the chat. I can see John and David are both in. Well, I think I pressed the wrong button. So good evening, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live from the Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show. This is game week 33. It's all kicking off again. So after an elongated break from Premier League football, we are now back with action midweek, which is why we're here on a Tuesday, and not just action with Phase 1, the game we've been playing all season, but we are now testing, beta testing Phase 2 on the live site. And we're going to actually be able to input my team live later today because we've fixed an issue we had with it. My previous team was on autofill, and one of the players had left the game, which was causing a glitch, so Mike's fixed that behind the scenes. We'll have a look. We should get some team news for the early games, well, the Tuesday games today. We'll have a look at that as well. See what changes we need to make on the main team. And have a look through the new site that's hopefully looking good now. Yeah, and a bit of a preview of the midweek games. So, first of all, we've had some fixtures, so I thought we'd have a look at those. And I have up on the screen for everybody, we now have the fixtures from today up until Monday, May the 5th. And you'll notice that I've made some guesswork changes, guesstimations, you might say. So we have on Tuesday, April 22nd, Aston Villa visiting Man City, which is a rearranged game from the FA Cup semi-final week. And then the following day, on Wednesday, the 23rd of April, I have Arsenal hosting Crystal Palace. Again, because Crystal Palace are playing in the FA Cup semi-final. And then the following Wednesday, on the 30th of April, I have projected for Nottingham Forest to be hosting Brentford. The reason that can't go the previous week is because Nottingham Forest are playing Tottenham on the Monday. So I think it will just hang over onto the 30th. We have games up until May the 5th now set. Hopefully we should get the next weekend fairly soon. It's due. In fact, it's overdue. And then something else we've gleaned from this week. I've not put it on the screen because we don't know who the finalists are yet in the FA Cup. But it seems like any matches that need to be postponed from the penultimate game week of the season are going to be brought forward to the midweek preceding the FA Cup, rather than going backwards into the week succeeding the FA Cup. I think that seems to be a deliberate policy now, that all games are going to be brought forward if they can be. And I think it's mainly so the Premier League have sort of a get out of jail card in the last week of the season for anything that's over and above postponed. I don't know that for a fact. It just seems to be the way that things have worked so far this season. They've been proactive bringing games forward, so can't disagree with it. And if that's the way they want to play going forward, then I think it's a good thing. Excuse me. So let's take this off. I'm going to head to FF stuff and see where the league stands. So I'll make this full screen. So I'm going to jump up to full screen for me. Yeah, there we go. So Shane White still at the top with his Wexco United 2793. Mark Hawes in 7, 2772. Joint with Mark McFadden. Then JRZ 2762. K Dickinson 2758. Oh, 5-9, sorry. Then Andrew McGill, Neil Fleeson, Melvin Poole, Michael Blackburn and Mark Williamson rounding out the top 10. And how many points is that in between everybody? So that's about 58 points between first and 10th. So still a long way to go. If we have a look at some points, these are the top point scorers. We won't go through them in too much detail, so we'll want to get through to see these team news as well. So Mo Salah top of the shop. Erling Haaland news today, he's not going to be seen for a long while, so anybody that brought him back into their team, so yours truly included, will be making a move. We'll see that in a bit. And then Cole Palmer, Isaac Fernandez, the top 5. And if we go to bonus points, top of the shop, Virgil van Dijk, Bruno Fernandes, he's been bouncing up the screen, 57, Kovacic 56, and then Saliba and Partey rounding out the top 5. We'll just have a quick look at ownership. So Cole Palmer was top, 63, Erling Haaland 54, so a lot of people have brought him in, they'll now be taking him out. Gabriel at 46, Kluivert 46, there's a rumour he's not going to play tomorrow either. Mo Salah 43, there was a lot of people moved Bournemouth in for Liverpool players, even Haaland was a big buy as well. Bowen there 43%, Bruno 42, so it's a bit of a more even ownership game. So down to Murillo is 20th and he's 15.5%. Okie doke, so let's take that off. I'm going to get rid of that. So this is my current team. So I'm looking at the minute with Sells in goal, defence of Saliba, Robinson and Munoz, midfield of Kluivert, Palmer, Foden, Bruno Fernandes and Jarrod Bowen, and up front I have Haaland and Semenyo. So no Haaland, so obvious move for me is to bring Salah back. I just take this off. Get rid of that, just show the tabs. Yeah, so I have 9 transfers left. So my planned move, I think tomorrow, I'm going to move Salah in for Haaland, and Marmoush in for Bruno Fernandes. You might think it's strange to take Bruno Fernandes out when he seems to be doing quite well, but it is a fixture game. Marmoush is going to be playing up front for City, probably for a month and a half at least. And the bigger reason we'll see a bit later on, because I think on Monday, when Leicester play Newcastle, I'm going to move Semenyo to Isak. And then a little bit further down the line, I have made a plan to bring in Saka. And that can either be for Bowen or Foden. It'll likely be for Bowen because Foden will have another game, but it does give me the option. And that takes me to the phase 1 limit of 50 million. And that would leave me with 5 transfers to last the last week of April and the 3 weeks in May, or 4 weeks in May. And my team then would look like Sells, Saliba, Robinson and Munoz, Kluivert, Palmer, Foden and Saka. And then up front I would have Marmoush, Salah and Isak, which I don't think sounds too shabby at all. So that is my plans. Right, I'm going to get my phone out so we can get some team news for games this week. And then we'll have a look at some of phase 2. Let me see. So if I go on to FootMob, see if they've got their teams up. So Arsenal v Fulham. So we've got Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel and Lewis Skelly. Partey, Odegaard and Rice. And Nwaneri, Marino and Martinelli. So Saka was rumoured to be back. And he is on the bench. So he could well be coming on for some points today for anybody that's got him or thinking of bringing him in. I think my favoured move is to wait and see. And then for for Fulham, we have Leno in goal, Diop, Anderson and Coenza, Castagna, Burge, Lukic and Robinson, Traore, Smith Rowe and Jimenez up front. And then Wolves v West Ham. Wolves, Sarr, Doherty, Agbadou, Gomez, Semedo, Gomez, Andre and Ait-Nouri, Menetzi, Bellegarde and Strand Larsen. And for West Ham, Areola, Kilman, Mavropanos, Cresswell, Wan-Bissaka, Ward-Prowse, Paqueta and Scarles, Bowen, Gulhern and Ferguson getting a start up front. It'll be interesting to see how he goes. And we might have the Forest v Man United. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff, so it might only be predicted lineups here. But they are saying Sells, Aina, Milenkovic, Murillo, Williams, Yates and Anderson, Elanga, Gibbs-White, Danilo and Awonye. So that means that Hudson-Odoi is not playing according to FootMob. If anybody's got it in the chat, they drop it in. I'd appreciate it. And then for United, they're going with Onana, Mazraoui, De Ligt, Yoro, Dalot, Ugarte, Casemiro and Dorgu, Garnacho, Bruno Fernandes and Zerki up front. So we shall see how that goes. So I wonder, my team for today, I'm thinking, who's likely to be the best captain? Could be Bruno. I fancy Forest though, to be honest. Bowen maybe. Spoiler alert, but in my Phase 2 team, I'm going heavy on Arsenal defence and not a lot else. So let's have a look at that now. So this is my Phase 2 team, and I'm going to move this across screens in a minute and see if we can input it live on the system. So let me try that now. Move it out of the way. You see my lovely screensaver now. And I'm going to go back to here. And this is me logging into Cloud FF. So let's see. There's me logged in. This is my team. I'm going to see if I can make that full screen. There we go. So this is my full autofill team. And this is the team I'm going to try and put in. So in goal, I am going with David Raya. And at the back, I'm going with Munoz. So you can see here, you can flick these around by clubs. So, and then I want to be looking at goalkeepers. I'm going to put Munoz in. And then my other defenders are all Arsenal, I think. Yeah, so I'm going to go flick this back to Arsenal. Stay on defenders, get rid of Livramento. I'm going to put Saliba in. I'm going to take out Tsimikas. I'm going to put Gabriel in. I'm going to take out Mings. I'm going to put Timber in. Then in midfield, I'm going with the midfield three. So I am going with Phil Foden, who plays Leicester tomorrow. So find that under Manchester City. Stick on midfielders. And there's Foden. I'm going with Eze of Crystal Palace, because they have quite a few fixtures. And I'm going with Mitoma of Brighton, mainly because he's fairly cheap. And also because they have decent fixtures coming up. I've got home game against Villa. They visit Crystal Palace, but then the Pièce de la Résistance comes the following weekend, and they play a Leicester in a home game. So he fits my profile. We'll see how much the team costs in a minute. Then up front, I'm going with, I'll put it on all clubs and stick this on points. Mo Salah is coming in. I'm going with Marmoush, so I might need to move that to Manchester City. Need to get rid of Palmer. Marmoush, there we go. And Haaland is going, and I am having, I think it's Mateta. Yes, Mateta is coming in, so if I move that to Palace, there we go. That's my team. And it says I've got 1.1 in the bank, which is correct. But then there's going to be some plan changes. The plan is to bring in Palmer if he starts on Thursday, Saka if he starts on Saturday, and then the following Monday I have 5 changes planned, and they're all Newcastle, because they have 4 for 1 over the teams they are replacing. So there's my team. I'm going to click on save, and then I need to pick my captains. So I'm going on here. So I'm going to pick Saliba today as captain. For tomorrow, I'm going to go, I think, probably with Marmoush. Thursday, as you can see here, no players playing. So I will be bringing somebody in. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to turn this volume up a bit. I just picked up a message that says very quiet. Looks like it should be okay on what I can see. I shall move the microphone a bit closer and see if that makes a difference. Sorry, John. Saturday, who do I think is going to be best bet there? Well, none of those are all appetising, really, are they? Okay, who are the fixtures on Saturday? Do we have that up here? Yeah, so fixtures on Saturday: Everton v Arsenal, Palace v Brighton, Ipswich v Wolves, West Ham v Bournemouth, and Villa v Forest. Well, no, you're right, none of those are particularly great. So I will probably go with, I might go with Eze at home to Brighton. For now, anyway. Sunday, I think it's probably Salah away to Fulham. Monday, I don't have anybody yet, but that's when I'll be bringing in Newcastle players. The following Saturday, so it's Arsenal v Brentford, Palace away at Man City. So yeah, I think probably Marmoush. Sunday is Salah at home to West Ham. Monday the 14th, I don't have anybody yet. I'm not sure who that fixture is. Oh, it's Bournemouth against Fulham. Yeah, I've got a plan to get some Bournemouth in for that date. And then on the Wednesday, I think I will have Newcastle players by then, but for the minute I'm just going to stick it on Eze. Click on save, and then that should tell me when I go back to my team. If I click on captains, there they are. And this is something that was picked up from feedback we had off one of the guys on Blue Sky this week, is could we have the team of the opposition the player is playing against in the captain selection. So Mike has done that, and you can see there for Saliba, Fulham home fixture. So the match centres, this is set for live this week already. So if I put this back to 32, should be no games because we didn't have anything. 31. So this was the last set of games that we had. You'll be able to see these. Anybody that's logging into the website, those that are doing beta testing, will be able to see this live. You can see we've got some leagues here. So anybody that wants to enter the Cloudy Sky FF Show League, this is the code. There's quite a few people in already. So I'll go back there. The code is NXUN3BPF. We've got a Patrons League as well, so if you're one of our patrons, you can join that league. Leaderboards, you can see, this is all stuff that's been done in the past on beta testing. Stats, yep, so these are all up to date now. We have how much players cost, how many points they've got. You can sort that over different game weeks. So if I put this up to, say, the last 5 weeks or 4 weeks, Bruno Fernandes has been the best player. So all of this is sort of ready to go now. We are testing over sort of the sprint between the end of April and May. And hopefully it all works well. Anybody that plays, just drop us a note, some feedback. We need it all. We like it all. I'm just picking up some more stuff in the chat. John, yes. So question re phase 2, the leaderboard to stay the same, or will it be zeroed? It's all the leaderboards everything's going to start from phase 2 is going to be from phase 2. So these will all be taken away. And we'll start afresh from tonight. Anything else to say on there? No, I think that's all good. So if I take that away now, I'm going to see if I can put my plan back up, and I'll just briefly talk through this. I can move it across properly, make that a bit bigger. So that's my beta testing team. So yeah, the original plan is to move Palmer in for Foden, assuming he starts on Thursday, then a direct move straight to Saka. The reason you can sort of be as free as you like with transfers is that we have 50 to play with, and there's not too many weeks. I worked out we're going to get about 35, I think, fixture days between now and the end of May. So I have 5 players coming in for Newcastle on Monday. Pope, Trippier, Cher, Gordon and Isak are the planned ones. Palmer back again, Sunday 13th of April. And then Bournemouth, two fixtures there for Cliver and Evan Nielsen, taking out, I think it's Matoma and Salah, and that's due to the fixture calendar. So we find here the Bournemouth fixtures there are here. So it might not be Matoma that's coming out. I think that might be a glitch. I think it might be one of the Arsenal defenders that's coming out. But yeah, so I've made a plan pretty much through. So Sunday the 20th of April is when these Newcastle fixtures end, I think. Yeah, they finish on a Saturday. They're against Aston Villa. And then they play again there against Ipswich, but there's teams there with a 2-0 over them. So it'd be interesting to see how people go with this. I'm really looking forward to it. I think the whole phase 2 is going to be something to really get stuck into. Hopefully everybody oh, and there's Mike. He's watching the show, and he's already done the work. The zeros in the leagues. Thank you, Mike. So yeah, looking forward to this. It's going to be sort of a bit like an extended manager of the month. I remember doing one of these before. I think it was January with back in the Sky game, and tried to do, I think, 5 transfers a week. Can't remember how many weeks it was over, but I think it was 4 or 5 weeks, maybe, probably 4 in January, because there'd have been an FA Cup at least. And I think over second or third, maybe, there was somebody that got a Liverpool block defence, and they kept keeping clean sheets. So I was sort of beaten to the punch, as it were. But I'm looking forward to this, and hopefully everybody else that's playing could do the same. So let's have a look at fixtures for sort of this mini weeks. We'll be back on Friday to do Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So Arsenal v Fulham. You can see by my team selection, I'm expecting it to be fairly tight. I'm going to go for a tight Arsenal 1-0 win. And it wouldn't surprise me if it's Saka off the bench that scores. Forest against Manchester United. I think Forest will be, well, they're to say they're bloody minded at the back is it's the minimum. The game they played against Brighton, they barely had a chance. Well, it's quite dull, the whole thing. So I'm going to go another 1-0 home win for Nottingham Forest. I'm just picking up more stuff in the chat. Only 5 transfers per game week in Manager of the Month. You can go mad with phase 2. Yeah, so we used to have 5 transfer maximum in Sky, but in Cloud Game you can use as many as you like. We're not going to have a limit like that. I guess if anybody wants to use sort of 10 in the first week, 10 in the second, all the way to week 5 when we get going, you'll soon run out. But in this sprint form, John, I think, yeah, you use whatever you can. And you're not often going to take Salah out, but if somebody's got a 2 for 0 over them and you've got transfers to burn, then you might as well. So Wolves v West Ham, two not great sides, but they like to be on the front foot, so it wouldn't surprise me if there's some goals. I'll go for a 1-1 draw. Then on to tomorrow. There's a couple of games here that were originally scheduled for Tuesday, but they got moved back due to the FA Cup. So Bournemouth against Ipswich. Bournemouth not 1 in 6 now, I think I'm right in saying, but Ipswich quite poor. I imagine Bournemouth will probably get back on the horse, but I've heard that Kluivert's a doubt, so he might not play. I'll go for Bournemouth to win, Ipswich to score 2-1. Brighton against Villa, two reasonably good sides here. Brighton seem to play well, don't always win. Same can be said for Villa, really. Brighton have had an extra day off. Will that make a difference? They're playing at home. It might. I'll go for a 2-1 win for Brighton. Manchester City against Leicester. I fear for Leicester, really. I'm going to go for a 4-0 win for Manchester City. Hopefully Marmoush will be to the fore. Newcastle against Brentford. I think this will depend on how well Newcastle have recovered from Saturday. They didn't play, I hear you say. Well, they were certainly out and about on the bus drinking plenty. Whether that was the players or not remains to be seen. But it could be a bit of a hangover there. Crowd should be in good voice. I think Newcastle will be okay. I'm going to go for a 2-1 home win. Southampton against Crystal Palace. I think Crystal Palace have kept 6 clean sheets on a bounce away from Selhurst Park in various competitions, and it wouldn't surprise me if they do the same again. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. Southampton have been poor. And then the Merseyside derby. It's probably going to be a different game than the one that was at Goodison Park, the last derby of the Goodison Park era. I think Liverpool, 2 disappointing results to end before the international break, but can they bounce back? Yes, they probably can, but I think it'll be tight. I'll go for a 2-0 win. And then Chelsea against Tottenham to round things out on Thursday. Tottenham, I think, will play a reasonably strong side on Thursday. And then next Sunday, I think they'll rotate quite heavily against Southampton, because their big match of the season is against Eintracht Frankfurt next Thursday. So I think Chelsea to win this, but both teams to score a 2-1 win for Chelsea. And then we had some questions in. I'm going to back to the phone again. Do apologise. So, from John. With dwindling transfers, which Man City player or players would you select from now to the end of the season? Well, it depends on how dwindling they are. I think Marmoush is probably a bit of a lock. He's going to be playing up front. Haaland won't be getting in his way. He's only 4.9 million, so he's easily affordable. So I think I'd be going with him. I've picked Foden, but that's mainly because I'm going to pick him for 1 week against Leicester. He could play false 10 maybe. Not quite sure exactly how they're going to do it, but I needed to pick my team today, and he was one that was in. I could have picked an Arsenal player and made the move tomorrow, I guess, but I think Foden will do, and he'll do okay. But I wouldn't necessarily pick him long term. If I was picking somebody long term, I would probably go for Gvardiol. He's the same price as Saliba at 4.5 million. He plays every week. He can get attacking returns and he can get bonus. And with City's fixtures, if I bring it up on the ticker, they're playing Leicester, Manchester United, Palace, Everton, Villa, Wolves, Southampton, Bournemouth and Fulham. So even City should be able to get the odd clean sheet there. So that would be my 2. If you were frisky, you wanted 3, then maybe Foden as well. But I don't think he's worth the money. I'm just having him as a 1-week punt. And then from Dream Team Gaffer, Saka tonight or wait a few weeks. So I think for the Phase 1 game, the hop-on point is here on fixture day 92 when Arsenal visit Ipswich. If I think I'm right, it's an early game. Yes, 2 o'clock kickoff. So you'll see the team, which is absolutely perfect. So that would be my advice. He's benched tonight, so I wouldn't be bringing him in anyway. And then, yeah, somebody else replied to that saying, I don't think I can. He only had Haaland, so he couldn't bring in Saka anyway. So, and that was, yeah, Dream Team Gaffer as well. So my advice, if you only got Haaland, I would be bringing Salah in tomorrow, I think. And if you've only got one up front, you must have scope to bring in a second one. So maybe Marmoush as well. That would be my advice. Right. Let's bring this back up. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. A little bit haphazard, bit of a live interaction with Mike doing updates on the site and getting the team in. I've got a couple of other bits and pieces for other non-cloud and FPL games to do before the kickoff. So we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. If you like what you see, please give it a like. If you subscribe to the channel, please do. And if you want to use the transfer planners that we've used throughout the show, you can get those over on Patreon, Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show. Enjoy the midweek football, and we'll be back on Friday for a preview of 34. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good evening. Bye for now. Cheers.